I got a question yesterday. Somebody came up to me and said, Shanley, what's the difference between following your passion and following your heart, or doing what you're passionate about and following your heart? Personally, I don't see that there's any difference between following your heart and doing what you're passionate about. I think it's pretty much the same thing. It's this concept of um, following something or doing something that you're most interested in. I don't see anything wrong with doing something that you're most interested in, as long as you've also asked the question, is this something that I should be doing? You know, the idea of following your heart answers the question, what do I want to do? But it doesn't necessarily answer the question, what should I do? I think that every every time we want to go in a certain direction, it's good to ask ourselves both of these questions: what should I do, and what do I want to do? The question, what do I want to do, answers the question, or the question, what do I want to do, will tell you, what it is that your heart wants to do. This idea of following your heart is answering that question, what do I want to do? But it's also wise to answer the question, what should I do? And I personally have an issue with myself, where I don't always know what I want to do. I'm always asking myself, what should I do? And that can be problematic as well, because you end up thinking to yourself, what I want to do, and you're left with a whole bunch of options. And really, the only difference between all the options is a decision as to what do I want to do. So so it's important to ask yourself this question: what should I do? Whenever you're faced with a decision that answers the question, what do I want to do? There's nothing wrong with following your heart, as long as you've looked at as long as you've looked at the questions from the rational point of view. For example, somebody comes to me and they said, Shanley, I have this interest in becoming a vegan chef. I think that if I do this, I'll be following my heart. Now, that's okay. It's a good thing to ask yourself. It's a good thing to want to do, to say, hey, this is something that I want to do. But then you have to look at the other side of the question. What should I do? And answer that question. Answer things like, will this be able to, if I do this, will I be able to provide for my family? If I do this, is there a market for such things? If I do this, how much is it going to cost? Do I have money to try out this thing, to pay for all the training that I might need? So those are the questions to ask once you already have an answer to the question, what do I want to do? When it comes to the question, what should I do? Sometimes you should be doing something that you might not necessarily want to do. For example, when I was younger, my parents said to me, Shanley, you're going to play the piano because we need a pianist at church. Now, there was this need for a pianist at church, and I was in a position where my parents could afford the training for me to do that. But 2 or 3 years into learning to play the piano, I was but how can I say? I was a bit bored of playing the piano. I was a bit frustrated. But I think the reason for that was because I wasn't very good at it yet. And I told my parents, I said, listen, I'm not really passionate about this. This is not something that I'm really, I don't feel like I'm following my heart by playing the piano. And they said to me, no, listen, we need a pianist in church, and so you will play the piano. And so I complied with my parents, and I continued to take lessons for piano. And a few years later, I was playing piano in church, and now I'm at a point where I'm reasonably good at playing the piano, and I enjoy doing it. And I'm glad that my parents forced me to play the piano. So so very often when we do what we're supposed to do, or we ask ourselves the question, what should I do? And we get the answer for that question. Sometimes it might not be something that we want to do, but if we pursue it and we continue in it, learning, pursuing that course, we might find ourselves enjoying what we do. So just to summarize then, in decision making, a decision to go in a certain path can come from two places. It can come from answering the question, what should I do? And it can come from the question of, what do I want to do? If the question is, what do I want to do? Very often that's the direction of what we call following your heart. And it's okay to do that as long as you answer the questions, answer the question of that same decision, what should I do? And if within your principles by which you abide by, within what is rational to do, within looking at answering the questions about how does the world work, if in answering those questions there's nothing wrong with you pursuing this course, then it's fine, follow that thing. So you can follow your heart as long as you provide good answers for the questions, what should I do? And then the other side that the decision can come from is, what should I do? And in this case, if you answer the question, what should I do, and you've chosen a certain direction, very often your heart might not be in it. But if you continue doing this thing knowing that you should be doing it, very often your heart will follow. So that's how I would answer that question.